The NBA has announced its suspensions for the four players involved in the Hornets Pistons brawl, which happened a few days ago. NBA Vice President, Head of Basketball Operations, James Jones, was the one who decided these punishments. He's also the former NBA player, James Jones, if you don't know who he is. And the suspensions are Isaiah Stewart has been suspended 7 games for leaving the bench area, aggressively entering an altercation fighting. That was James Jones' reasoning for that one. Additionally, Charlotte Hornets forwards Miles Bridges and Moussa Diabate have each been suspended 4 games for fighting and escalating the altercation. And Pistons center Jalen Duren has been suspended 2 games for initiating the altercation and fighting. So here goes. I have to disagree with these suspensions to some degree. Now, I will agree with the Isaiah Stewart suspension. I felt he deserved 5 games or higher simply because he's a repeat offender of doing these things. So perfectly fine with the 7 games. He deserved it. Don't have anything to really complain about it. Now, my qualms with the suspension comes to Jalen Duren. Like, you're going to suspend him only 2 games, and he started the whole entire altercation. He initiated the whole entire damn thing. And normally I would have been fine with the 2 game suspension by Duren. That's how much I initially thought he should have gotten. But here's the problem. You're giving Diabate 4 games, and he was a guy who got hit. To me, it's always the person who starts the fight should get suspended the most, bearing anything extreme. And in this case, Stewart deserved the most, even though he didn't start because he ran off the bench and he made it worse. So I disagree with that. I thought Duren should have gotten as many games as Diabate. Both were equally as responsible for this thing getting out of control. Duren was egging on Diabate when Diabate was held back by shouting stuff and whatnot. So I think he deserves an equal amount. That to me is horseshit. And now with the Miles Bridges situation, I thought he deserved like only 2 games also because he didn't do anything too extreme in my eyes. I think people are judging him by what happened with the domestic abuse situation a few years ago in which he beat up his girlfriend, or it was his wife. I don't know which one it was. One of the two, right? But he did that situation, which was terrible. It was awful. And I felt he did his time for that. He was out of the league for a year. And then when he came back, I believe he got suspended for 20 games for that situation. So I felt he did the time for the crime, as they say, and to get punished based on that to me is stupid because that's really what this was. It really was retaliation for him being a domestic abuser. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be criticized for that stuff. That's wrong. I'm against domestic abuse. I think it's awful. It's terrible and whatnot. But that should not be the factor in levying this punishment towards him. I thought that was pretty stupid, to be honest. So I thought he deserved 2 games. I thought all 3 of those guys should have got initially 2 games. Duren, Diabate, and Bridges. They all should have gotten 2 apiece, but I didn't think anything beyond that. So I thought that was pretty stupid. Now, like I said, Stewart deserved what he got. And I don't have anything much else to say about this, but I do have to say the NBA always puts idiots in charge when it comes to handling these situations. It doesn't matter who's in charge, but they always fuck it up. And they usually tend to get it wrong. Like before it was Joe Dumars who was in charge of handing out punishments and he didn't know what he was doing. And prior to that, I forget the guy's name who was in charge of it, but he was also pretty stupid. Hence, whenever Draymond kicked someone in the nuts, they had a hard time deciding where or not to suspend it. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was Kiki Vandeweghe. That guy was also a dumb fuck. He was clueless. So the NBA is just filled with a bunch of idiots. I think that's really what these suspensions show. They don't know what they're doing. They're a bunch of clowns who are running the show. And I'll just say it again. Like, I felt all 3 out of 4 of these guys should have been suspended 2 games apiece. Duren, Diabate, and Bridges. Duren got the 2 games, but I felt Diabate and Bridges, it was too excessive. To me, that was just retarded. And if, like I said, if you're going to punish Diabate for 4, then also give Duren 4. If not, then just give them all 2. So this is uneven. And the only thing they got right, like I said, was Stewart getting suspended 7 games. But I don't have anything else to say about this stuff.